All right, you guys, we are back at Mixtape Talks. This one is, I know I gotta stop saying that. Everyone's a special,
we love
a special guest, but this man I've
the most
known,
special that we've had so
the
far.
most special. Ooh, we're gonna get some hate DMs from our past guests. This man I've known for a while. I kind of grew up with him and I want to say grew up with him in the gym industry. So, he's kind of branched off from that. He's been doing a lot of things, social media, his own social media business. He's telling us about a project he's working on outside real estate. So I think it's always good to get people that have started from, I guess you could call it the bottom, and have kind of worked their way up and kind of picked their brain. So Riley, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast today.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah, man. I think the last time we saw you was at the Dark Sport event, right?
Oh, yeah.
Dark Sport event.
Degrees in the desert.
Damn, that was fun. That was a good time.
Fun, though. It was fun for sure. But you drove all the way from Temecula to Chino Hills, then to Palm Springs.
Yes.
Wow, what people do for content.
Oh, yeah. We were talking about that before we started.
Yeah,
I'm putting 10,000 miles a month on my car, like minimum.
Wow.
Is that like normal for like content creators? I mean, to like have, I mean, what's like driving everywhere, doing all that stuff?
It depends. I've definitely I'm shooting a lot less than I used to. I've branched more into like the agency model where I'm outsourcing a lot of stuff too, but I still directly deal with like, I like to stick between like 8 to 10 clients a month that I'm seeing. And we usually do like a 1-day shoot a month. And a lot of those clients are LA, Chino, San Diego. So I definitely am driving back and forth.
So when you say you do one shoot a month, we had someone on here prior, another content creator, and he was pretty much saying he gets someone in and they shoot like 30 days worth of content all in one day. How the hell do you even plan something like that?
Yeah, for sure.
It's a lot. So I just did 1 or 2 last week. She owns a clothing company and it's like children's dancewear based. And then she's also does like online coaching. So we did 2 different sessions, and it's with a little bit like real estate agents, loan officers, it's a little bit easier because you can kind of just like throw questions at them and just go from there and kind of just, you're chopping it up. You give them, usually I'll do like a pre-consultation with them and I go from there on questions I'm going to ask them, and we'll just film, and then we're going from there, and I'm just cutting through all the clips to find what's good. With like clothing companies or like restaurants or anything, it's a little bit different because like I'm trying to think of 30 different reels aren't all very much the same topic. So like with a clothing company, we had someone that was there for makeup and hair. We had someone that was there just like making sure the girls are getting dressed in different outfits, putting together like a stylist basically.
Yeah.
And that was just back to back for 8 hours that day. But it's, it's content for the whole month for them.
For the whole month, it kind of
TikTok
knocks it out. Yeah. Is that like the new trend now? I mean, because I remember when we were shooting like gym videos, it's like you show up, you're getting out of your car, you're dry scooping pre-workout.
Some of the original Westco ones. For sure.
Yeah, and I remember like when they had to be like a minute. Like now it's
like 10 seconds.
10 seconds, 30 seconds.
Right?
Yeah, it's crazy how much the social media space has changed. Like I was talking to someone about this at the gym, especially like in the fitness space. The fitness space has changed drastically. Like it used to be like, I'm going to tell you a story from the time I got to the gym, my workout, what pre-workout I'm taking. Like supplement companies don't even want that anymore. They don't want to see you grabbing out of your locker, out of your gym bag. Like that's so overplayed. Like sometimes they literally just want you to be working out, quick little pump video. You're not even showing the product, but they're just tagged in the video.
That's crazy.
It's changed so much between like telling a story, which kind of sucks as like a videographer sometimes. Like it's definitely taken like the filmmaker side of things out where you are trying to paint a picture all the time. But it's fun condensing it. Like I still want to be able to tell a picture or tell a story in 10 to 15 seconds, and like trying to figure out how to do that in all these different spaces, whether it's for, a lot of people I work with are serial entrepreneurs. They own multiple businesses, which I feel like is my niche because I like to work with busy entrepreneurs because I can't think ahead of what they're doing. So when it comes to content, you can just show up and I'm going to make sure it's efficient for you. A lot of the times they don't have time for consultation calls or they just want to show up and
you
shoot
just show
content.
up and you just make it happen.
I'll send them a text of like, hey, this is kind of like what the topics are because, a lot of time I want to make sure they're still prepared. I don't want you to show up and be like, oh, I'm not really feeling talking about this. But a lot of time they show up, they're like, oh, I'm looking at your message right now. Let me read it over.
That's so true.
See, but sure. I mean, that's good. It's good that you're explaining. I don't think we had anyone that really explains the ins and outs of what you do as a content creator, right? Like for me, I just think, hey, bro, show up with the camera. Let's shoot some shit. But there's so many things that us as like consumers don't think of as far as like, is this trending? Is it not trending? Do people's attention span is like 10 seconds. Like how do I tell a story of my business or myself in so many reels? And you come up with the ideas, you come up with the questions, because we kind of went over your pricings off air and I was like, God dang, but see, now that you're explaining it, I understand. Like if I get to walk into a building and you have everything set for me, I don't have to think. That's what I feel a content creator is. And that's like truly, we had that discussion, is like real content creators to me are people that say they're content creators, or the people that like just walk in, they've already audited your Instagram, they know what you need, they know how to like
For
get
the
the
client,
engagement.
and just you walk in and you tell them what to do. It's like you're producing the whole entire show.
Exactly. Yeah.
Love that.
And like I tell people too, when it comes to especially working with like busy entrepreneurs and working with entrepreneurs in general, almost anyone across the content creation field, my goal is not to make you have a pretty Instagram. Obviously that's going to be a part of it, but what I've noticed that's kind of diversified me from other content creators is I'm here to make you money. Like there needs to be an ROI on whatever
Right.
we're doing.
Right.
I do not want your $2,000
Because then-
and then not see you again next
Yeah.
month because you got no return from it.
Yeah.
So it's like you might pay someone that's $4,000 or $5,000 that does amazing content, but what really converted from it?
That's actually
Like,
smart for
I
you
want to
too,
make sure
though.
you're getting something from it, and that's why I have clients that I've worked with for 4 or 5 years on end. Because if you're not seeing anything from the content you're doing, like your content's not really doing anything.
True,
It's not
true.
performing in the way it should be if you're an entrepreneur.
Especially the type of business or entrepreneurs you're shooting. Like you said, they have multiple businesses, so they have to shoot that. But you do have some, like, you know, we have some trainers that are just trying to get out there on social media to build their business. What would you say is like the best way to go about it for like? And again, we'll say in the fitness space for like trainers that are just new and maybe their social media doesn't have a lot of followers, doesn't have a lot of traction right now. Like, well, what's the best advice you'd give to someone like that?
I think knowing what your not what your niche is, but knowing what you want your niche to be, because I feel like that's where a lot of people go wrong. Is like, well, this is my niche, and I'm like, well, who's telling you that? Is it based off of what you've been doing for the past 1 to 5 years, kind of unknowingly? Because a lot of times, like, you'll just start posting on Instagram. I'm sure both you guys
Yeah.
were just posting on Instagram for the longest
For
time,
sure.
and you kind of realize like, hey, this is what I'm doing now. And sometimes you kind of get stuck in that. So I tell people, like, what do you want your niche to be? And if it takes some rebuilding and it takes, 60 days, 90 days, 6 months for you to kind of build the audience you do want, that's completely fine. But knowing what you want that audience to be is going to be the most important part. Because like fitness, there's that niche alone, there are so many different avenues you can go.
Oh, yeah,
Between
definitely.
there's the motivational side of just like strictly motivational workout, like, Adonis, for
Yeah.
example, like
Yeah.
he is strictly like, this is my physique and this is what I do. But it speaks to people on a different level between like his transformation. It's a little bit of like self-help. And then there's the motivational side of fitness that is, this is my routine. This is what I do on a daily basis.
Yeah.
A little bit more supplement involved. And then also bringing in like the day in the lifestyle of things in where it's, you get a little bit more like, sometimes it shows like a little bit more finance related, a little bit more of like their personal relationship.
Right.
And then there's, the motivational, but also educational too, of like, hey, this is, I have amazing physique, but I'm going to show you what I do to achieve that. It's like with fitness, there's so many different ways you can go down that path. And it's a lot of people are kind of just throwing shit at the wall and seeing what really works,
Yeah.
which you're going to get little results, but you're constantly going to be just on this hamster wheel of like trying to chase your audience and that's what most fitness people do, is they're just like, well, I know I need to be posting something, so I'm going to do some educational stuff, but I also want to do motivational, but I also want to do
Yeah.
life. And you're just going to be staying in there and you're going to
Yeah.
be unhappy doing it, versus like, this is what my audience is. I'm going to stick strictly to this. If it takes me 90 days of not really getting any type of, results from it. And like Alex Hormozy talks about that all the time. Like if you can do something for 12 months and not expect he's talking financial result,
Right.
you're going to be successful. If you looked at social media the same way of like, I do not care. Like Instagram, you can turn off your likes nowadays. Like you
Yeah.
have no excuse for not
Yeah.
posting the content. you
Yeah,
want.
that's
If you are
true.
so self-conscious about your engagement and
Yeah.
likes, turn it off and post what you want to for 6 months, a year, 2 years, and you will get the result you're looking for.
Yeah. As soon as someone turns their shit off, though, I already know suspect.
Oh yeah.
Really?
Like it doesn't matter. Like for me,
20K followers?
Yeah. Like for me,
Oh,
like,
especially with all the people that had 20K and they were only getting like 100 likes. Or
no. I mean, when someone turns it off, like completely off, like they don't want people to see. And this is just me being fucking petty wop, right? Like
Your cardio.
Like on the
petty.
reels, I'm like, let's see how many real views you have.
But I mean, like, but it's crazy because sometimes like I'll post a reel and it'll do really well, and sometimes
Yeah.
I'll post a reel and it doesn't. And I think
Yep.
people get caught up. I'm just like, I don't care, bro. I'm just gonna put it out there.
I think it's good we have that mentality now too, because so many people don't. They're just like, oh, well, I did one video, no one liked it, so I'm going to stop.
Dude, I heard people say like they posted and it doesn't do well, so they delete it.
And that's the worst thing you can do, right? Is delete a post.
It's super bad. Like I tell my clients all the time, especially like these as females do that a lot
Oh
too.
my
Like that's a lot of my female clients, or like even my fiance, like if a post is not doing good in an hour, they're like, oh, I'm not feeling it. But like, especially with reels, a lot of people talk about like when they see substantial growth, it's typically like a 2 to 3 week old reel.
100%.
Give it time.
Yeah.
Let it season for a little bit,
Yep.
and let something pick up a little bit. Next thing you know, it's like, you're like, oh wow, this one did a couple thousand views overnight.
Dude, you're so right. Every reel I've had
true.
that did well was 2-3 weeks later.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck are all these like notifications coming
Yeah.
on? I'm just looking through. I'm like, oh my god. There's one I shot with my daughter, and it was like it was at Disneyland, and it was a video of her when she was little to Disneyland. Just did it, forgot about it. I thought she looked cute. Literally, I still get likes and comments on that thing. Like, and I shot that like 3 months ago, and I'm like, oh my god, this is insane. So, I mean, I think I know that the algorithm has changed, and I'm always looking to people like you that are experts. You know, when I first did my show in 2021.
21, yeah.
Yeah, I think reels were still kind of hot. So like I was shooting a reel of anything and it was going viral because obviously I was shredded. And then like I picked up like 7K followers, just like kind of similar to Adonis, right? Adonis was just posting that stuff. Like, what do you think now is like the key, if there is a key to going viral? Is it like the quality of the video? Is it picking the right audio to go over it? The time? Do people still care about times and
care about the time?
Times and hashtags?
Honestly, time is kind of all over the place for me. Like I think there is still going to be like a window, but like I with my clients, I'm posting anywhere between like that morning time, like 6 a.m. to like 11, 12. Right. But like some of my clients, I'm having to post like 1 to 2 or 3 p.m. And everything's always like automated. But some of my clients, it performs better during the day. I have some clients that their stuff better at like 9 or 10 o'clock at night. And especially when it's like an e-commerce type business, like this clothing company that I work with, you know, you can make sales any time of the night and it doesn't matter where that money is going to. So like a lot of their sales are coming from overseas as well. So if I want to hit that audience, it might do better at, 1, 2, 3 in the morning.
True.
So it kind of just depends. But honestly, like, again, like when it comes to going viral, a lot of time it is older reels. So if you posted that reel at 2 a.m. 4 weeks ago, what does that matter nowadays? But I think it really does come back to, again, like what your niche is. Because if your audience doesn't really know what to expect from you, they're not going to really follow someone. And I don't know if you guys do this, like when I see someone's content that I like if I'm scrolling and I'm like, man, I really like this dude's fitness content, and I click on it and he only posted that one reel, and the one that's similar to that was like 3 weeks ago, and in between that content's a bunch of random shit I don't really care about, I'm not going to follow you. And I don't just scroll, and when I see a video I like, I don't just click that follow button. I want to go to your page for like, even if it's 10, 20 seconds and look at your stuff. So it's like, that's why I tell people it's really important to know your niches. Because if I follow you for educational content and I click your page and there's one video every 3 months, I'm not going to follow you.
That's so true.
So it's like, stay in your lane of what you want, and you're going to start attracting people that are in that audience. And if you don't have that audience right now, you eventually will. But like, give it ample time. Give it 90 days.
That's so funny too, because it's like, I'm gonna bless you with my follow, like, because like I've seen some people's stuff, and it's exact same thing. Like they did a fire reel on something educational. They'll go to their page, and I'm expecting to see like
a bunch of other stuff,
and it's like none of that. It's just like one that hit. I'm like, I'm not gonna follow. I'm not gonna bless you today with my follow. But that's kind of like how it is. It's true. Yeah. I mean, I think now, even if I like evaluate my own, it's like, it's kind of all over the place. We got to go back and reinvent the wheel, but we have so many things on our plate that it's always like, we're coming to people like you. And so like, I'm going to have to set up a consultation.
Literally. Yeah. But
it's always good to like audit your Instagram. A lot of people don't. They're mindlessly posting.
And archive instead of delete, would you say? Or is archiving still
like, what's the point of taking it off your page? If it's
is it considered a delete with like the...
it's still going to affect your...
This is for her own person.
I know, but like,
I go back and archive
right now.
This has nothing to do with the podcast. She's like, okay, so when is it okay to post?
Did you guys just bring me on here for
Is that what it was?
Cameras aren't even on. We just want to know. No, I mean, because it is always changing, and it's cool. Like we have Ethan that's a regular on here. He does a lot of our content. Things are always changing. We had Matt Savvy, that again, another guy that we grew up with in the industry, and you guys are like kind of the pioneers to me, and it's been amazing to see all of your guys' growth. But to see that growth, it's been from like fitness to now that you guys do everything other than fitness. Like now Matt won't even do a fitness thing if I ask him to.
Yeah,
so
he'll send one of his.
It's guys. Like what right now the clientele, again, you want to ROI on that, especially if you're a clothing brand, but keep it in the fitness space. What are some like apps that you feel like are absolutely mandatory for trainers to have, that maybe they can't afford someone like you, maybe they can't afford the kid with the camera that has an app to edit? So like, what would be the best thing for them to do on their own?
Honestly, it's a mix between, like, if you can afford a cheaper camera, like when I am super busy, like my fiance she has her own small, though, like A6400. It was like $600 or $700, I think. You can get them secondhand for cheap. If you have the ability to shoot your own content on a camera, it is a noticeable difference, but it's not going to drastically, affect your Instagram. You can shoot from your iPhones pretty easily. CapCut's super easy to be able to edit videos on, but honestly, Instagram is, I don't know if you guys have seen, like they're continually trying to add to their editing platform, especially when it comes to a lot of people want to use original audios on Instagram, which is always going to be a great way to grow no matter what niche you're in. You can always use an audio that's specific in your niche. It's very easy. Like I'm sure you could tell, like there's very much audios that are for the fitness community, for the car community, for the restaurant industry, for the entrepreneur industry. So finding people that are similar in your niche and being able to like reuse the audios that they use if you don't know, you know, because once you get an eye for it, like I'm sure you kind of can see like, oh, this audio is going to take off. Like I want to use this one. But if you don't follow the people that are doing what you want to do, you can use their audios. You can edit directly through Instagram. Instagram's editing has gotten really good. I think that they, you know, almost any social media, their goal is to keep you really tied in and kind of just tied in more. So between doing it through there and CapCut, and then captions is always great. Like you know, even someone that uses the app all the time, like when I'm scrolling, someone that has text over their video that's a little bit more captivating, and they're continually adding to it, especially with like the new AI features. You can denoise your video directly through it. So if you are talking, you can get rid of the background audio. It adds in like those pop-up images, the pop-up emojis, little stuff like that is going to set you apart from other people. But honestly, it's hard because like a lot of the stuff that I recommend people to do isn't even really based towards apps. It's more just like they just need to get started. True. A lot of people they're like, oh, I need to know like what the best hashtags are. Like, what should I be posting? I'm like, you just need to like get started. Yeah. Like, you haven't posted in 2 years and you're worrying about kind of the wrong stuff right now.
They want the plan to be perfect instead of
I mean we have that too. One of the first things that we do when we meet with trainers is we do like we always ask for their IG. Right,
some people are like, well, I don't have one, or they don't want to give it to
and they're
us.
like embarrassed. They're like, I only posted twice, but I go, no, but it gives us a good sense of where your business mind is, right? Because right now, if you're not using social media, and I would say it's absolutely free. Like Instagram doesn't charge you to post. Like we need to see where you need the most help on. Are you a solid trainer, but you're not getting in front of enough people? Like that's what social media is for. So we try to tend to do the Instagram audit, but I mean, I've been doing it on my own, and I'm like, okay. Yeah, you need to get back on it and stuff like that. And then you have the AI, you know, and most people have mixed emotions, you know, that there's a huge strike with the actors doing that because they feel it's going to take over their jobs. I asked other content creators, they're kind of like for it. Like, how do you feel about AI and where your business goes with it?
I love it. It's honestly, it's automated a lot of what I do. I don't think it's going to replace jobs unless you let it. And if you do feel like that your job will be replaced by AI, that is something to be concerned about. I don't think that AI is going to be something where it's going to be able to take away a creative field as a whole. I think that it is, for the most part, meant as a tool to be able to use. Like I use it in my editing when it comes to even like podcasts like this when I'm filming these with my client. Instead of a 4, 5, 6 hour editing process, I can skim through that footage in one click and have it pretty roughly chopped up. Really? And then I can take that full episode if I wanted to and drop it into another system that's, you know, I'm not going to drop the name of it. Yeah. Keep a little bit.
Gatekeeping over here.
But I can drop it in and it's going to cut up 15 to 20 different reels that are, you know, based all around your social media. So they're going to find something that they know have hooks involved in the videos. They'll kind of re-edit it a little bit and it'll add text directly over it. That might have saved me another 10, 15 hours. So I might be able to do more volume of clients. Yeah. And I can work with a lot more people that way too. Instead of, you know, hey, it's going to be $2,000 for a podcast episode. And a lot of people might not be able to afford that. You might be able to offer something at a way better price just because there is a lot of more tools that can help you.
Yeah. And I mean, not to cut you off, but podcast is so, and I want to say it's easy because the way we structured it, it's not easy, you know, guests and everything. But I get people all the time. They're like, I really want to start one. I go, dude, literally just go get a mic and record yourself and start it. Like people like, oh, it's oversaturated. I go, but you're not worried about getting everybody's views, right? Like you said, you build your niche. You're gonna have people that follow that podcast or listen to it because of you or what you're talking about. So you don't have to be like a Joe Rogan and have like conspiracy theorists on here. Like you could have whatever, and people are gonna follow you for that. So, but at the time we were looking for someone to edit it, it was hard to find someone. But now I feel like,
and that was just what, a year and a half ago?
That was like a year and a half ago. Yeah. But if you can find like an affordable package like you're talking about, like, man, I feel like everyone should have a long form type of content, you know, besides a YouTube.
And even though there's AI, there's always going to be somebody who doesn't want to do the work to find the AI app or whatever. You're still always going to have a customer that needs you.
And it doesn't make it, like I explained, I said, AI doesn't necessarily take all the workload out of it. It might just take out a lot of like the annoying process of it. Even if it's, you know, like when I come home from a shoot sometimes, or if it's a podcast, or whether it's like I call them headshot sessions with clients where, you know, I have the camera rolling for an hour, 2 hours sometimes, and I'm just throwing questions at you. It's going to take me a while. I have to watch that 2 hour footage back. I can't just skim through that. I need to go through and make sure that, you know, there wasn't any mistakes. I want to make sure you're not lagging on your words. AI can trim out a lot of that. And I'm still having to skim through it, but it might have saved me, you know, a couple hours just there alone. But you're still having to go through and do a majority of the work. And I think that AI slowly will, you know, over the next, it's only been a couple years that's it's been kind of integrated into like people's everyday life. It's been around for years now. But I think that it will grow a lot more. But as long as you can find it as a tool and incorporate it in your business, you are going to set yourself apart from other people. Because
has it been around that long? I mean, again, I haven't. I heard about it with the Chat GPT.
Like that was like the first, like I feel like launched to like the
right?
public. But like AI has been around. I think that it's been like in smaller systems. But like they've been working on different systems for years. Even like those, you know, those robots that people always talk about that can like answer questions back to you or kind of like tell you.
Yeah, you're
that's
right.
Still a form of AI.
I mean, Siri. We've all had Siri in our phone forever, and that's AI. But I mean, again, you always think of like the elitists have that kind of stuff, and it's like now the average person could go to chat. We have a friend that's missing on the podcast, and she had someone send her a message, and she said, "This is ChatGPT. You can tell by the verbiage. It's all like it was like an apology letter.
Yeah,
but it was all my sincerest apologies." I'm like, bro, that's chat.
Yeah,
That's
you know what's crazy about ChatGPT though that a lot of people don't realize is the more you use it, like if you don't have an account and you're just using like the free one, you're popping on like, hey, write me a quick whatever the case is. The more you use it and the way that you even like, you know, word your prompts that you're using, it will learn how you talk as well. So you can almost build like a ChatGPT assistant around who you are. So like I use ChatGPT all the time. Like I don't like to sit there all the time and write out long emails, or I don't want to sit there and write out long proposals, but I can give it the prompts of like, this is the most important part for me to cover in said email or text or whatever it may be. And it knows how I talk because I use it constantly. So it's slowly gotten better and better where it doesn't sound like dearest Mr. whatever. You know, like that's not how I talk. It's like, hey brother, how you doing? Like I attached below. And it's so the more you use it, like again, it's going to incorporate you into your business. So if I can get back to my DMs faster, my emails quicker, my turnaround times go from a week to 2 days.
Yeah.
Why are you not going to hire me versus the other dude that's you're still waiting on his video?
All the tools.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, I feel like it's been so new, but it's advanced so quickly. I'm thinking like by 2025, we're going to sit down and have this conversation again, and it's going to be like, fucking AI took over everything. I mean, I don't see how they can actually like take a camera and have ideas and do that. I see what you're saying, polishing. That's why I feel like you guys that are true content creators that are actually thinking of things and not just following the trend, they'll be okay. But I feel like the kids that have the cameras now, like you could just have a camera and just shoot a bunch of stuff, put it into AI, and they'll kick out a reel for you.
Yeah.
I mean, Instagram has that what is it? Not the app, but it will take all your
templates.
Yeah, the templates, and you're like, oh, I like this person's reel. Let me just plug my own stuff in there. It's like it's getting easier and easier, but yet people are still having a hard time posting because of their own insecurities. You shoot a lot of people. How do you help them overcome that, like insecurities from clients that you have that maybe aren't used to talking in front of the camera, taking pictures, how to pose? I know for us, it took me a while to get comfortable. Even like, hey, just walk and I'm gonna take pictures. You're like stiff as a board.
Yeah, or even the education. I know we did a film one time when we were doing educational pieces for trainers, and you were so patient. You're just like, all right, let's just do it one more.
But you're actually really good at that.
I was actually the best one on.
If you guys don't know, Marissa gets hired for voiceovers.
Hey,
she does. I was like, she's like, I'm doing a voiceover.
I saw like a car commercial or something. I think I was like,
oh yeah, you saw her.
I know her.
Yeah.
No, but you are super helpful and makes everyone feel very comfortable in front of the camera. Because a lot of times when we're talking to trainers, they've never talked in their stories. They've never tried to sell themselves because maybe they come from corporate and they're selling like LA Fitness or 24. So how do you overcome like those objectives with them?
A lot of the time when it comes to videographers, they unfortunately, like I've met a lot because like I outsource to a lot of people and I have people that are part of my team. They don't have good people skills.
Yeah.
And that's going to come down to a huge part of it. Like if you come to a shoot and you're just awkward and you're quiet and you're not really talkative to people, your clients are going to pick up that energy too. So like I'm huge on like when I get to a shoot and I explain it's like similar to a workout. We're going to have a warm-up session. I'm going to throw questions at you and I'm probably not going to use this first 30, 45 minutes of what we're filming, but you're getting more comfortable on camera and I want you to feel comfortable, you know, in your own skin when you're sitting behind camera. Because when you have 4 or 5 lights on you, you're mic'd up, you probably have some other people in the room, you're going to be super nervous. So I like to figure out one, like I kind of gauge how comfortable the client is, whether it's on like the consultation phone call, and that's only gonna be a portion of it because once the cameras do come out, people will start getting a little bit more nervous. Sure. But then from there, it's like, okay, let's see what questions that you do want to ask. You know, like you don't want people to feel like they're not someone that they truly are. So like I want to make sure that the questions I ask you are something that's actually relevant to you. Right. Because if you're trying to sit here and answer questions where you don't really know what you're going to answer, you kind of are lagged up on things, you're going to start to feel more nervous. People kind of get frustrated too when they can't answer something. So I take time I'm going to sit here and ask you questions and just be patient on it too. Because in reality, like it's at the end of the day, you're there for the client. If I'm sitting here like, oh man, I'm on a time crunch, like I gotta go. If I'm getting frustrated and it's noticeable, and I've seen people, I'm like, why?
I've experienced that for sure.
And it's the worst feeling. Like you're like, man, I feel like an inconvenience to you, but like it wasn't an inconvenience when I paid your invoice. Exactly. But now you're gonna sit here and be angry
speaking to us right now. No, that's so
No,
true.
we've had that with trainers. Like we're just trying to shoot like a real quick. I tell them what to say. They read it over and over, and then we go, okay, go. And the camera's on them, and they're just like, what was I supposed to say again? And I'm like, just relax, chill, go take a
for
walk,
sure.
take a little break off of that. So I mean, I've experienced that too. Like
Definitely.
sometimes when I shoot some stuff with Ethan, it's with the camera, and he's like, go, and I'm like, okay. Say it in my head and then go through it again. But there's some people that are like new to it, so that's why but your clientele base, like it is more comforting to know that you actually care about that as a content creator, you know, not just
Because
coming
I
in
feel
and
like you're
shooting.
not on a time limit. Whenever I've seen you shoot, you're definitely in the moment. You're not thinking about your next job.
Exactly. And it's always like, that's where it's important to like know, like I'm very efficient with my time. Like I am back to back all today, but I'm not going to sit here and be like, man, I'm in a rush. So it's like you making sure you're like, you need to pad your shoots. If you have shoots back to back every single hour, every single one of those clients you're thinking about the day, you're thinking about the next shoot. If you're sitting there like, man, I'm checking ways, planning my drive for the next one while I'm at the shoot, you don't think your client's going to pick up on that energy? Like give them ample
And then
time.
your like creativity isn't even on that actual shoot.
Exactly. Like if your mind's focusing on something else, it's going to be very noticeable. And like when I outsource to someone, they give me that energy, and I'm, you know, if it's different when the client's paying you the full amount. When I'm outsourcing to someone, you know, there's fees that come along with it, working under someone. And if I pick up that energy, like I'm not going to want to have to reuse you, because like if I'm picking it up, my client for sure is. And
Definitely.
that's not what they really deserve. If they're paying you that full amount, you don't know if that's the last dollar in their bank account. Like you give every single client, I don't care if it's below your budget, you chose to take that shoot. You give them your full effort, whether it's a $10,000 shoot or it's a $100 shoot. You said yes, show up to that shoot, be present, pay attention to what's going on, give them your full effort, don't rush them, don't be frustrated, and like produce the best content you can.
I absolutely love that, because I've been in situations where I've had someone come shoot and they're like, okay, well, I got to be out of here like in 15 minutes. And I'm like,
You're like,
I paid you, bro. Like, what are you talking about? But I'm just like, okay, I just make mental notes and I just let it go.
Yeah,
but it does make me feel like, oh shit, I gotta hurry. I gotta hurry up and do this. Okay, let me think of something. And like we kind of talked off camera. I get some people that shoot and they're like, okay, what do you want to shoot today? I'm like,
I want you to tell me what to shoot.
I want you to do that same thing. But again, that tells the difference between a professional like yourself and someone with just a camera, and people like you that have that game plan are the ones that are still gonna be doing successful things post AI takeover.
Yeah, what do you think you learned the most from like the beginning of your career? Because I mean, you were a new kid at one point too. Like, what do you think's been the biggest thing that you've learned to change your business?
I feel like the most important thing I've learned during my career, man, I gotta like think on this one. There's been so much, honestly. I think it's to adapt and learn as you go. I've switched different industries. You know, I'm still in the same industry. I've worked with different people in different industries so much, and learning kind of what you do like and what you don't like, and learning to put out what you want back in return, if that makes sense. Like there's certain clients that I choose not to work with anymore, but that doesn't mean, you know, I'm not better or worse than any other videographers, but like I know the type of audience that I want to work with. Like I don't work anymore with like individual businesses. I work with like more corporations, if that makes sense. But I think that trial and error has been like the biggest thing, because I've tried a shot at every single type of industry, and like I'm a huge person of like love. So like I love shooting weddings, I love shooting proposals, and it's like I wouldn't have known that being someone that's in the fitness industry. And it's like I'm very much, when people look at me like, man, you kind of shot. I've worked with alcohol companies, I've worked with weed companies, I've worked with serial entrepreneurs, I worked with restaurants, and it's, yes, it's important to niche down, but like as a creative, you have an eye in general. So it's like for me to like really test out what I do like and know what from there to niche down on, versus, you know, like for me, the one thing that came onto my plate, as you guys know, and how I met you guys, was fitness. And that's the tiniest portion of what I shoot nowadays. I might take up 10-20% of my schedule. But what a lot of people do is they get their first paying client and they're like, well, this is who I am now. I'm going to base everything around my whole personality now. At what I do, everything is based around this, which is what I did for a good amount of years. And that was honestly one of my biggest regrets, but also something biggest that I learned from, because I was like, this is not what I enjoy doing. It's something that was paying the bills. It's something that I learned connections from, but I was like, I'm not happy doing this. And stepping away from choosing not to be wrapped up in one industry and really being like, let me explore what I do like, even though financially right away it wasn't something that was rewarding. It is damn rewarding now. But it was that patience of like, I don't know if I really even like shooting this. I don't know if I like shooting with these type of people. And you're not going to be the right person for every single job. I know I'm not the right person for that job. But like if you're a client that comes to me, my job is to make sure if I can't service you the best of my capabilities, I'm going to find someone who can. Whether that's me still overseeing the project, whether that's me being like, hey, I'm going to connect you guys and I hope the relationship goes good. that's done me 10 times better than it has been like, oh, I'm just going to take any business that comes my way.
So definitely telling like creatives to stick to your passion. Like I feel a lot of times people are trying to go with the trends or they're trying to follow whatever is hot right now, but that's not their eye. So they're going to do better sticking to what they love and know in the long run.
Exactly. Yeah. And in reality, like when it comes to doing, like I do my passion for work, and it definitely has taken a toll on it being my passion still. Like it's not something that where I don't look at photography and videography the same way I did 10 years ago. Rightfully so. People that love fitness, like you guys love fitness, the second you become, whether it's a gym owner, whether it's a trainer, it does affect the level of passion that you have for that. But what's important that keeps it a passion for me is making sure I'm working with people that I enjoy working with. Because I know creators that are, there is a corporate side of being a videographer and content creator where they're working for, whether it's just strictly in like a loan office and they're just filming informational videos all day long. That is going to suck the passion right out of you. And you're going to be dreading going and doing it. And almost 6 years of doing this full time, I have never dreaded going and working with my clients because I'm choosing to work with people who, in the beginning, it wasn't paying the bills. Like there was plenty of times where I was taking payday loans. I was borrowing money for people. Like I would borrow money from friends in the beginning to pay my apartment to now, being able to live in our own home. But it was that patience bill to get there because I'm working with people that I truly appreciate. They appreciate the work I do for them, and I actually enjoy shooting the content for them. And that's going to take a huge, like that makes the world of difference. Like you are putting your all into that content versus just like feeling like, oh man, I got to just show up, I'm going to shoot this, on to my next shoot. Like I don't want to feel like I'm just checking a box every day.
Yeah, I think definitely we even experienced that with just rebuilding Chino Hills when we did, and it was, getting new trainers in there. It's the same thing. You're choosing the people that you want to work with. Just because we're sitting down and having an interview with you doesn't necessarily mean we want you to part of the team, or you might not be the right fit for us, right? Because it's true, like one bad person can really like a cancer to what you're working so hard to build a culture or an environment, right? So I think that goes in any business, especially like you said, we started as personal trainers and now we're business owners and now we're like gym owners. It's we love fitness, but like how we relate to the fitness industry has evolved over the last 10 years.
And you guys will understand that more than anyone because like when it comes to, you guys are in a different space of fitness. It's not a membership base where, when it's members, it doesn't really matter who's signing up. Like I more than likely you're not going to see them, know who they are.
Exactly.
But like with trainers, it's a different when someone's coming to you like, hey, I have the money to come and work for you and I want to be able to invest in it. And you'd be like, honestly, I just think you're not the best fit. Versus like, oh, let me just take whoever comes my way. Like you will see the results of that as well.
And it's so funny too because I had a guy that messaged me and he got my personal cell phone number, which I'm going to address with the trainer later. But I give him credit because I'm trying, and he's like, I wanted to just set up an interview. And I go, well, I don't do interviews. And he goes, well, how do I get in? I said, well, I just want to meet you. I just want to see if you're the right fit for what we have at the West Covina location. And he was like, okay, so I don't have to do an interview. I go, no, we're going to talk and we're going to see if I could help you, if you can help me. I said, because the team that we have here, everyone's pretty much handpicked. Same thing with Chino Hills. Like we've had people come in and we're like, this probably just isn't for you right now. And it's not that it can never be, but it's like your mindset isn't really there. And everyone here has put in so much effort to make sure that Chino Hills or West Covina is doing well that it's like, I don't want to just put someone in there and they're going to devalue the team, so there's a lot that goes into it, kind of similar to what you said. The biggest thing I got out of what you said was you kind of gave up. I don't want to call it gave up, but you took a chance on yourself and you gave up a comfy job that you had, right? You were in the fitness space, you were getting paid a salary, there was a lot of perks that came with it. But I know even from talking to you, like there was a lot of things that you wanted to do outside of fitness. And I know that because you were so tied into the fitness space, you didn't have time to do that. And even when you're like, hey, I'm no longer in fitness, I was like, man, that's crazy because I know Riley as that guy.
Exactly.
And you're like, there's so many things I want to do. And I'm like, good for you, but I'm glad that you kind of said that in the beginning, it was a hit on your pocket. It wasn't like, where's this money coming from? You had to go out there, you had to find it. But now it's been like, what has it been? Not even a year, right? Like
it's been about 6 months now.
6 months and you're
that's it?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's
like
so crazy.
But it's been 6 months.
And
like literally as soon as you stop doing fitness, you never stopped. You're like, I'm going to take some time. Like, you're already in the process of like, you bought your house,
I quit and like decided to go full time. In the middle, we were like,
closing on your house,
we were
right?
in the middle of escrow.
And
I was just like
the riskiest kind, like the riskiest time where you're like, holy shit, okay, I got to pay this mortgage. And then like, I know like you do a lot of filming for your girl and then you started doing a little bit of everything. And now it's like, I see you, people that don't talk to you probably don't see you on social media a lot. But I know you're behind the scenes of a lot of big projects that are going on, And then we had Mike on here that owns Fitness Mania, and you're doing a lot of big things with him. He's opening that 2-acre gym in Corona, and I know you're gonna have
Mega Mania.
Mega Mania. So it's
crazy.
it's always, I always love those stories where people are like, you know, you're stuck in your job, everything seems cool, and then you're like, I'm just not happy, because you could have stuck it out, to be honest with you,
Yeah.
and did fitness, and you'd probably be a little bit more financially secure at that time.
Yeah.
But you're like, okay, but a credit to your fiance, because she's also, you know, part of your
hustler,
team,
yeah.
and she's also like, hey, look, if you're not happy, let's
Yeah, definitely.
She's a huge part of my
Shout out
support
Taylor,
system.
yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So, like, she, like, from the time that I've been with her, like, she has been the biggest push for my business. And like, she's an absolute hustler alone. Like, she runs in a crazy efficient training business, and like, she crushes it between the results that she gets her girls financially, and like, being, you know, we've both grown drastically, but like, that was one of the things where, like, when I was like, you know what, like, I'm not truly happy doing this. And like, we were, you know, for most people, they'd be like, you're going to quit in the middle of us closing escrow on a house. So like, when we have a mortgage to pay in the next 30 days, and like, we were renting at the time, but like, from renting to mortgage, especially with like
Yep.
where the market's at right now,
Interest rates
it's
are
double what we were paying
Yeah.
before,
Yeah,
on top
definitely.
of all the fees, on top
Yeah.
of just owning a home in
Yeah,
general,
that's how
going
it
from a
is,
wet,
yeah.
you know, 1 bedroom to furnishing a
You got
Yeah.
property tax now.
Yeah.
You gotta worry about,
exactly. Like, it's a whole different game. And she was like, no, I trust you on it 100%. And
that.
it's been, you know, since then, it's been absolutely amazing. Like, we're stepping into the real estate space. Like, she's also a licensed real estate agent.
Yeah, I saw that. Congratulations on her.
But, you know, she was the one that even got, like, we were talking about Section 8 off camera. Like, she was the one that even brought up Section 8 as a whole, because we've always, you know, we've been huge on cash flow in general, and learning how to create cash flow in our business. Because like, we love traveling, we love working, and I don't think we'll ever step aside from work. I don't think any entrepreneur truly
Right.
just
Definitely.
decides to make money and step away. But, you know, her being like, how can we figure out how to have different sources of cash flow? And, you know, we hustle and grind so we can be able to turn around and create that life that we want. So
Yeah,
it's
no,
been-
I mean, that's so, I mean, I think there's steps to get to where you're at, to think like long term, but I think for you being so young to understand, like, okay, we can be in Jamaica somewhere, and those rents are coming in, those projects are getting done, and we're getting that cash flow. That's really the end game. And you see, like, a lot of people that are wealthy, they're at the gym. Like, for instance, we were at Chino Hills, we had the Ball brothers, right? They were like playing basketball right next to us, and there's a guy that was in there, literally you wouldn't tell he had any kind of money, and he was like, oh, those are my neighbors. And I was like, oh, you know the Ball brothers? He's like, yeah. And then I asked the trainer, he's like, bro, this guy owns 10 gas stations, but he rolls
Yeah.
it. But I mean, he's like, yeah, I'm going to be gone out of the country for a couple months, and then I'll come back and start the program. I heard him, and I was like, holy cow, that's what I want to be able to do.
that's the way to do it.
Right. But I mean, it's like, you have to have those cash flow things set up. So like, the projects that you have, I know you're building a team, I know you're getting into real estate. What do you see yourself in like the next 5 to 10 years, as far as like, where's your main focus going to be?
Honestly, it's a mix. So like, I have a wedding business that I'm also like partnered on with
Yep.
Ethan. I've always loved shooting weddings. I've been shooting them for years. There's, you know, being a big advocate. Like, a lot of people look towards my relationship, and that's always been something where I've been very proud of, to be able to like post and show, because I think that like a lot of guys are very much more like private about like
Yeah.
their relationship. There's something where they're like the whole simp era, where like, oh, I don't want to post stuff like
Yeah.
that, you know, and that's a whole different topic. But like, I'm not like that. I'm gonna post my relationship. Like, I'm proud of my relationship. It takes effort to be in a relationship, so why would I not be proud of it?
Yeah.
And especially like where we're going in life and what we've been building, like, I love posting stuff like that. So a lot of people get attracted to that, and I end up, you know, that's how I even got into shooting weddings. And I've been doing more and more of them. I'm partnering with a couple of venues. I'm out in Temecula area, so it's very much all the wineries in that area.
So you do a lot of weddings.
Yeah. So it's, you know, I've been enjoying building a wedding team. I love working with other people. I think that I was very much blessed with being able to create a very well efficient business, and, you know, be able to have a pretty damn good income from it.
Yeah.
And I want to show other people how to do that, because, you know, I tell a lot of people, like, my goal right now is not to be the best videographer in the game. I'm not sitting here every single day being like, oh, I want to learn the newest skills and the newest edits, you know, how I can edit differently. Like, I still want to be able to stay sharp and be able to keep up with my competition. But my goal is to be able to connect the dots for other people. Like, I think I've always been very good at that, and I love being able to bring people with me. So if I can take a videographer that, you know, I know plenty of videographers that kill it, and I are better to me in that sense in videography, but they're just not good at business. And like, I want to be able to help those people be able to reach their goals, because you might be amazing, but you just don't know how to put your skills to use. So if I can connect you with the right people and still make sure my client's happy, then like, that's just great for me, you know? So my goal right now is to be able to build more of a bigger team. I have a few people that I outsource to, and, you know, my goal is to not really be outsourcing people. I want to have people that are actually a part of
Part of your
on a
team.
salary. I would love to, I've always wanted to own a studio space. I've had 2 studios. We had one in Temecula, then me and Taylor had one that was more based around her clothing company as well. But, you know, ever since even meeting Mike as well, like I wanted to switch it up and being more in the real estate space. Like I would like to own the land. I would like to own the building, be able to have a studio space because, you know, I think that when it comes to having a team of videographers, like obviously there's a cash flow on that side of things because I do take percentages, or if they're, you know, if they're highly skilled videographers and they do know what they're doing, then they're, you know, I would like them to be able to pay me a monthly fee to be able to have access to a certain space. But owning the real estate's a whole different game. So I would love to be able to, you know, also own that. But beside that, it's just really just being able to continue doing what I love and be able to invest all that back into real estate. Just because honestly, like the more I can, my goal right now is to be able to still, even though it's my passion, I would love for it to fully be my passion. I would love to do what I do shooting wise, strictly just shooting, not really doing it for clients anymore. I want to be able to have people that take care of that for me, but I just want to shoot stuff for me. Like I love traveling. I love shooting travel content. That's one of my favorite things. And it doesn't pay the bills. It's not, I don't make any money from it, but it's my most memorable little stuff to go back and
keeps your spark.
Exactly. Yeah. Like that's why we travel so much. Like whether it's weekend trips, you know, it's our travel has gotten more, you know, a little bit more grand as we've.
I follow your story.
It's gone from like Zion and Utah trips, you know, to out of country.
You guys are going to Cabo now. When are you guys going to Cabo?
We're going to Cabo at the end of the month.
Right.
Yeah. It's always the most aesthetic stories I'm waiting for. It's
We're like
you know?
It's like who the hell? But then I remember who shooting it.
The waterfall.
Yeah.
Hair flips.
Yes.
You know.
How'd you get that? You color graded that all while you're on a vacation?
It's like I love it.
No, that's you know, and I think the biggest difference between you and, you know, when I first met you in the fitness space, I always thought of you as like a younger kid. You know, I'm older and like, okay. And then I remember like we would have you at meetings and you would speak and I'd be like, wow, he's really well spoken. Yeah. Like your confidence is very quiet, but it's very loud when you speak just by your professionalism.
Thank you.
So even the more I seen you grow, like even now I'm like, bro, I want to hire you to shoot some stuff because I feel like even with clients, there has to be a consultation. There has to be an end game. And I think, like I told you, some trainers or some videographers, they'll come in and they'll be like, yeah, I'll shoot you. What do you want? And I'm like, no, bro, someone came to me with an idea and this is what I'm going to do. And this is how many videos I'm going to get. If this is what you could afford, these are my packages. It would be so much easier for me to go, oh, okay, I have faith in that. And I think you would do really well in mentoring or having classes as well for a lot of these kids. And I call them kids. Anyone that's 30 or younger, you're a kid to me, you know.
Yeah.
Speak on my age. But I think that's the biggest part that separates like a professional from someone that's just doing it as a hobby, or people that are really good and they do it as a hobby, but they can be a professional. You know, it's like that mentorship from you. You ever thought about opening up like a mentor space or having people maybe local to you in Temecula kind of do that if someone wanted to reach out to you?
I have, but honestly, like a lot of the people that I do work with and outsource with, it's kind of something that I include like in what I do for them. I've never really looked at it as making it something that's like a profitable business, just because, you know, I don't want to say scarred, but like I've seen people that are mentors, but they're not really doing anything for these people.
Right.
And that's something where I never wanted to be able to like, let me take money from you. And, you know, you're not always gonna be able to speak to everyone, but if I can have a videographer that comes to me and I can speak a little bit into your life, and whether it's, you know, like I have random stuff that with the guys that work for me, like, and it's kind of weird, but like on camera, like I'll be like, I don't want you like smoking, drinking. I don't want you watching porn. Like I want you to be just sharp. And I don't want you, all these things that get in the way of you being just an overall better man. Like you need to get that in check first. And then we could start talking about like what we can do in your business. Cause if you're out here and you're just wasting your time, you're sleeping around, like in my opinion, that's just going to get in the way of you running an efficient business. And it's like small little stuff like that. Like if I can sit there and talk to all these different people, you know, and everyone comes from different backgrounds, but I've never really looked at it as like, well, let me see if I can make this into a business. Because I'd rather focus on like the actual business side of like building great videographers. And if that's something I can just kind of include in what I do for them, similar to what you guys do.
Yeah,
like,
I think that's definitely what we do with Self-Made and our trainers. And they're always like, is there a fee to sit down with you? We're like, no, like you're a part of our team. Like it's my job to make sure that you are successful.
Oh yeah.
You know, and they're always like, oh.
Yeah, it's funny too, because I get asked all the time, like, hey, do you do any mentorship? Do you do this? I'm like, I have like 40 trainers at one place. I have like 40 trainers at the other. Like that is my mentor program. Like being a trainer here is like what I do. Like I had a girl that hit me up. She's like, I really want to get into training, but I just don't know where to start. And I'm like, you know, if you want,
my energy is for my team.
Yeah, my energy is for my team. So, but I mean, I think you have a gift in a lot of different areas, but I think your main gift is going to be developing like that team.
Yeah. And that's where like, you know, eventually I would love to, that's where I would like to just, where I'm not really shooting and I can strictly focus on a team, because although it might not be something I'm directly charging for mentorship, if you're a part of like my corporation's Unlost Cause, if I can have a team of, you know, say 20 people in a studio space where I can show up and we can go over the projects that are moving, how we could be more efficient as a team. Like there's a lot of videographers who can be successful, and there's just very small stuff that they need to tweak, even if it's in their day-to-day routine. A lot of it's not in the actual creative side of things. It's
That's so true.
your energy that you show up to a shoot, how you talk to clients, the way that your mindset of even like after a shoot, how you spend your time. Like, there's no reason for you to have 2-3 week turnaround times if you're being efficient with your time,
right?
You know, so it's like there's small stuff that could be tweaked, but I enjoy being able to just freely give that to people.
That's so true. That's so true.
Yeah.
Like every time I've gotten a late video, I've known it's because, bro, I'm on your stories. Like,
You know, they did that probably like an
Yeah.
hour before
Yeah,
they texted
yeah.
me like, hey bro, I'm putting in the Dropbox. Oh shit.
yeah,
Like,
I'm like, bro, you're out. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I know you're for sure not working on this. Not that you have to put it on there, but it's also good for people that are potentially going to buy from you to see those things, right? Because when we talked about that with Instagram, like, I'll get a trainer and I'll look through all their stuff first. Like, is this someone that I really want to partner with? If they're on their IG just talking crap about whatever it is, or they're out
they're
partying
partying
or
all the
drinking all the
time,
time,
yeah.
I'm like, okay, so I can give you all the information in the world, but are you absorbing it and actually using it like efficiently? And for you, like, yours is a creative space. So if you're hungover, you're not as creative as you need to be. If you're having drama with a girl, a female, because you're sleeping around, then your phone's blowing up, then that's going to affect you.
Yeah.
So I think everything you're saying, or even like when it comes to porn, like, are you just like addicted to online stuff, whether it be gambling or drinking, whatever it is, all that stuff does affect your creativity.
Exactly.
You know, if you have a clear mind all the way across the board, your creativity is, there's no limit to what it could
Yeah,
be.
definitely.
So I think that's smart, especially if they represent you, if they're going to be a part of your team, they definitely have to be all on the same page, right? You can't have one person out there going wild and the rest of the team's like, bro.
Yeah.
I don't want. Imagine at your wedding if the photographer showed up like hungover or like all messy.
I'd kill Jeremy.
Oh, I go crazy at weddings though. But like that's where one of the things like that sets you apart from other wedding videographers. Some people are so professional and so like they just want to keep everything to a T. Like I want my clients to have the most fun during the shoot. Like I take a shot with every single wedding client. That is my like absolute mandatory.
Yeah.
'Cause I want to make sure like you guys are having fun.
Yep.
When I get there, we're joking, laughing. Like, but I'm not.
You're not
You still keep
sloppy.
it professional.
Yeah.
Like you
Yeah,
keep it
100%.
fun but professional.
Well, and especially like weddings, like I think we've heard a couple of videographers like they've lost a wedding video before, and
I
it's
haven't
like,
fortunately done that once.
and what do you do? Like, what do you? Okay,
So
what did
my
you
car
do?
got broken into. That's when my car got broken into. It was I shot the wedding. The next day was my anniversary. It was our 2-year anniversary. So went out to dinner. That was in the process. We were opening the studio as well. So I had all my camera equipment in the car, my lights, my camera bag, my hard drives, everything, computer. So we went out to date night, anniversary, came back, and I was like, no, just leave the stuff in the car. Like I had to go to the studio in the morning. We were unloading it. And then we woke up. First, Taylor was getting calls from credit card companies. And I was like, these are only credit card companies that they could have been spending if they had access to the card. Ran out, saw our Lexus with all 4 of the doors open. And they camera bag. And like the first thing I thought of was like my hard drive's in there. And like the first thing, there was like 10 other clients that had a refund on top of, all my camera equipment.
Right.
But the first thing I thought of was the wedding. It was my best friend's at the time sister that I shot the wedding. And it was a hookup price, did it for super cheap, but I was like, I don't even care about that. Like I lost your guys' wedding video.
Yeah.
So I instantly texted him, told him, I was like, hey guys, my car got broken into. I'm still trying to figure out what's missing. Like I know I have SD cards at my office, but I don't know what's missing.
Yeah.
Like I will fully refund you guys right away regardless of what's going on, but like whatever I can do to make this right for you guys. And honestly, like there's nothing else you can really do.
Yeah.
It's just like, what can I do to make this right? And it was super unfortunate. And the hardest part is like I'm super safe with my hard drives. Like I have hard drives that are my portable ones that go with me when I'm traveling or shooting, and then I have my desktop hard drives. But like because of the studio space, I had everything with me.
Oh man.
It was.
And so, how did they react? Were they like,
Marissa's lost to know.
Oh yeah,
She's been.
They were.
my God,
That's why I
she's
said
so for
former
sure.
best friend. It did turn into like an argument on things.
I mean, but
unfortunately.
you can't be mad at that.
Yeah.
But I was like, I
Yeah.
can't be mad at it. Like it was
You're
an
like-
unfortunate, but
because you can't stage the makeup and the dress.
No, I mean
Yeah.
that's a one. That's a one.
we still
time
had
thing.
wedding video. Luckily, Ethan was covering wedding video, so he saw the video side of it, but the photos of it
Yeah.
were gone. So it was.
I mean, the best thing you can do, and I always tell people that work with me, is like, you got to let me know things like right away.
Yes.
Be honest. Don't let
because-
it drag out. Like I didn't wait a week and be like, hey guys,
Yeah, see, that's where
Like, hey,
it's-
where's my clips at? Oh, well, because we've had an incident here where it's very similar, and we had like 3 episodes gone. And I had to call those people because they took time out of their day, and there's so much more to it. Hey, do you want to come back and shoot? Like, even there's one, Iron Willed, like we had them fly back out here because someone broke into someone's car and took their shit, and God, but I couldn't imagine a wedding. So, I mean, we've known you for a while. We've seen you grow. People that are listening to this are going to be primarily people that are probably new to the industry, maybe getting started, or maybe someone that's been doing this for 4 years, 5 years, but they're still stuck in that same hamster wheel. Like, what would you say is your biggest lesson you've learned so far, just about not even videography, but just about the business itself? like the direction it's going?
Speaking more towards videographers, or speaking towards people that are working with videographers?
I would say towards videographers.
Honestly, it's again, like, you need to diversify yourself, give yourself whatever time that may be, pick 6 months, a year, whatever that number is for yourself. Like, I did it in a way of like, I just had to figure it out. Like, I moved out pretty young. I was, I think, 16 at the time, and I was moved straight to renting a room with my ex-girlfriend at the time. And I was in the videography space, kind of. I was running a social media with over 100,000 followers that I grew from scratch.
Really?
I don't know if you ever even knew that.
Really?
That's
No.
how I started working with, the company in the first place.
Uh-huh.
But it was Vans Files. It was based strictly around shoes.
Oh, I do know. I've seen it.
Yeah. So I built that one like from scratch, and that was just like my very first like very niche page, and I was kind of diversifying. I would build pages to like 10, 15K followers, and I would sell them off to people just to show them that, like, hey, you can create ads on this account, and I would just continually sell them off.
Okay.
And Instagram was a very much different space at the time.
Yeah.
Reels weren't even there. Like, I could do that. I would give myself 30 days and I can get a page up and popping, and I would just sell it off. But I was doing that, but I was also working a warehouse job at the time. And I kind of went into this, like, I need to figure out what I want to do. And I didn't have hardly anything saved. Like, every single month was like paycheck to paycheck or borrowing money, but I was still in that, like, let me figure it out stage. So, like, to videographers or content creators, I feel like that are in that stage of like, I don't really know what I want to do. I know a lot of people that work part-time jobs that are also amazing content creators. Give yourself the room to breathe. And I feel like that's where a lot of people get stuck in that hamster wheel of like, oh, I'm not really working with clients I like to. I'm kind of just taking whatever comes my way. And it's because you didn't really give yourself any type of barrier, which if you are so stuck in that situation, you can make it work. Like, I was stuck in that where I was not even like living paycheck to paycheck. I was in the negative every single month, constantly looking at my account like, man, it's just in the red. I would have money hit and I would still be in the red. I was like, we'll figure it out. We'll be
That's
all
the worst
right.
feeling.
You know, like,
I got that thing, but damn, it didn't cover
damn.
the whole
It's gone.
didn't cover that whole negative.
Yeah. But I was in the area of like, let me just figure out what I like to shoot, because I think that does come down to a big part of it. Like, if you just sit there and you're just working with all these different type of clients and you really figure out like, this is what's working for me, this is making me good money, do I like shooting it though? Like, no, I'm not really a huge fan of it, but like, I can ride this wave for 6 months or a year. And I feel like if you have a game plan at the end of the day, which is super important, like, you need to know where you're going as a content creator, or you can realize, you can look back after 5 years and be like, man, I'm just shooting with a bunch of random people. I don't really have any direction for my business. You will, once you get good at videography, and once you get good, whether it's on like the social media side of things, you're gonna have business come to you, which is everyone's goal. Like, I don't actively have to be posting on social media because I constantly have business coming in. Yeah. But if I'm just taking anything that comes my way, I'm just gonna keep doing that for X amount of years until I look back and be like, I'm just not really happy. Working for yourself does not mean you're going to be happy. Like, you need to be working for yourself, but doing what you truly like to do. Because there's people that I know that work for themselves that are still miserable. And if you're going to be miserable, you might as well go work for a corporate job and have something that's a little bit more stable than
No stress.
working for yourself. Working for yourself is sometimes unstable and you're still not happy. Like, that's just a lose-lose all around.
Yeah,
like, I'm working for myself right now, and I'm super happy with the clients I work with, and I'm able to create my schedule. That to me is happy. I don't care if you're making $50,000 a year. If that's what you're able to do and cover your bills, amazing. If you're making $250,000 a year and you're happy, that's amazing. Like, whatever that falls in there financially, as long as you know the type of clients that you want to work with and you have a game plan at the end of the day, then you're going to be happy. So it's like, that's why I feel like if you create a game plan, know the clients you want to work with, ride that wave of like, if I have to shoot with fitness people, or if I have to shoot with restaurant owners or whatever it may be for 6 months, then cool, go
and I
do
think
it.
that you utilize the connections. We always say we're in the people business, right? Like, we're constantly meeting new people. Like, yeah, you weren't loving the type of work you were doing, but I'm sure you were loving all the people that you met, right? And building those relationships. And so when you decided to branch off and do something else, you already established your credit. And people are like, oh, so you can do this as well. And it just opened up so many more doors for you.
Oh yeah. And it's always a mindset thing too. Like, and I like, it's going to happen. You're going to have your ups and down days. Like, I was shooting for a client where I enjoy shooting for this client, and I was shooting something though that was like not really something that I would be like looking forward to shooting, which like, you're going to have stuff like that. Not every single shoot's going to be your absolute favorite,
Right.
Yeah.
but making sure you're still working with someone that like you enjoy shooting. And I was shooting something where I was like, oh man, this is not really like my cup of tea. So I'm kind of just a little bit more like, still making sure the energy is good, still talking to people, but I'm just still like staying in my lane. And I was like, what am I doing? I'm not really like, and I caught myself in it. And I left there with 3 different connections of people that are now clients right now.
Yeah.
Because I was just like, other people here are business owners. Like, you have no clue who's a business owner in a room.
Right.
Yeah.
Talk to those people. Like, go around and just shake hands. Be like, this is what I do for a living. What do you do? Like, don't always make it about you, but like, figure out what they do.
Yeah.
Just talk to them, make some type of connection. Whether you leave there with an Instagram follow or a contact in your phone, or you leave there with a business card for a potential meeting next week, like you're one step further than you were before you got to that shoot, you know? So it's,
Great.
I've always like, even I'm booked out with business for the rest of this year, but I'm still going to try and make connections, because if I'm going to take that and I'm going to be able to pass it on to someone who doesn't have the opportunity to get into that room that I could get into. But now if I can get you in that room with me, or get you into a room that, you know, I might not even be there with you, but you can do your thing, that's great, because that's going to make a better image of me. It's going to make a better image of them, and they're going to get further in life too.
That's true. I mean, we got Ethan from you.
Yeah.
Like, I think I approached you first, and you're like, I'm busy.
Yeah.
Like, but I have a dude that's my best friend.
He's solid.
He's solid. Like, hit him up, and that's kind of how we made the connection with Ethan. And you know, we've connected. Ethan connected, and he's in Vegas right now, living it up. With my brother-in-law, you know, I connected him. He's a real estate mogul, so he's kind of doing that thing. I think your real calling card is you try to make it a point not to burn bridges. And that's one thing I know personally off camera from you, and that's one thing that I think keeps you as a solid dude, right? What would you say now you hate shooting the most? Like they would have to pay you a bag for you to come out and shoot a specific kind of content.
Honest, like I'm not a huge, like I've shot a couple like keynote events where it's like speakers, and it's always the ones that are more like real estate and like loan officer based, where I'm just like, it's not my cup of tea. You know, like I'd rather send someone out and stuff like that. Like I'm leaving after this to go to a real estate shoot, and I love shooting real estate. Like I love just real estate as a whole. I love like walking through houses, like whether it's an older house, newer house. Like I've shot and beat down ugly ass properties, but they're selling for 1.5. Like I want to know why. I want to sit there and I want to talk to whether the owner's there. I want to talk to the real estate agent. Like that just intrigues me overall. And like I feel like that's why I took such a calling to real estate, is because like I've been in the real estate field of shooting and marketing for people, where it was just like second nature to me getting into the real estate. But yeah, just it's something about like just keynote speaker events sometimes.
I mean, I could see that. You just sit there and you're like,
you know? And just like I don't enjoy shooting fitness as much as I used to, but I feel like it's because I did it for so long. Whereas it's not really something that intrigues me. And it definitely took a toll on like my own desire for fitness too. Like just being like, I'm sure, I don't know if you guys, but like being in the gym space all the time, it definitely does like, it makes your workouts different. It makes your desire for fitness. And like, I love fitness, but I've switched my fitness between like working out now, like I used to, where I was just like straight meathead, to like swimming and running, you know, like I wanted to diversify now because I have the opportunity to do so.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even like fitness content anymore. Like even like I'm on Instagram and I'm looking, unless you're like a Mr. Olympia, like I want to see how C-Bum works out. That's just cool to see. But like most of these, like walking to the gym, and
your content's changed drastically. Even between like your stories, how you post, like it's,
big time.
You know, and some people don't really recognize it or like notice it, but like after a while, like you're not gonna want to post the same exact thing.
No, and I mean, to be honest, like that's why I was like, I'm looking for like someone to kind of, I guess you could say, help, because I'm kind of burned out on it. It's like, okay, there's only so much of certain things you could show. Like I know a lot of stuff that we do goes on, and I know like, damn, this should be recorded, but it's just like in the moment,
it's so hard.
We're doing so many things. Like that's always the last thing. It's like, oh, I want to record this, or even like you said, like with the fitness, like everything's been so busy. Like after that show, like everything just skyrocketed. So like we've been so busy with the business side of it, but we haven't really showed it because we just.
I know yesterday I tried to do a day in the life, and that was so hard for me to record.
Yeah, how'd that go for you? That's what I'm doing today.
It came out good though.
I was pretty proud of myself, but I was there like on the Instagram app trying to edit like for 20 minutes. Like, fuck.
That's a whole different type of content game.
You have to like do it, and that's what I told myself, and it was true. Like I had people hold me accountable, and everyone today was like, "You did it, Marissa. Good job."
Oh, really? At the gym or what?
Well, just like they saw my story and they're like, "Hey, you better get your work." Like Danny was like, "Better get your workout in. You got 40 minutes."
No, it is crazy though, because like social media. I mean, but I know you, so I speak to you often. But like, if you haven't posted, people are like, "Hey, are you okay?
Are you okay?"
I
almost said that
I get those like text DMs sometimes, and I'm like, "What do they mean?" But like, so I go MIA off of social for like months at a time, and it's not even like an on purpose thing. Like,
no,
I just like you're so busy.
I'm posting for like 12 to 15 accounts every single day, so like I'm not thinking about, oh, I need to post on my account. I feel like I already did my due diligence.
That's exactly what burned me out. Was I was posting on West Covina, I was posting on Mixtape, I was posting on my own, and it's like, okay, did I already post to this? So I'm like, I'm good. Then I had to respond to it, and then I had to turn off notifications because it went crazy. Then I was like, you know what, stories, you guys are getting stories, and that's pretty much it. But someone, like, people would message me like, hey, are you okay? Is everything okay with you? I'm like, no, I'm good, dude. I haven't been in the mental space to like get creative again. But I also feel like sometimes you need to reach out to people.
You should try a challenge. Like I did that I did Day in the Life. It was more when YouTube, I think YouTube's still popping off, but like always, because like more long form content. Yeah. But I think it was 60 days where I daily vlogged every single day, because I was huge. Like Casey Neistat was like the GOAT at that time. And I loved his vlog style. And I vlogged every single day, like 12, 15-minute videos. And I would edit them that night and I would post the next morning.
Really?
But like trying a challenge, like there's like the 30 for 30, like the Project 75. But like trying one of those projects, sometimes it forces you to get outside your comfort zone when it comes to content. And like whether it's something, you know, you guys have an audience, you guys have a following, like doing something that's based around your following is something that might have a different type of impact for you versus just kind of joining into someone else's, you know, no disrespect to their type of products that they're doing, but joining someone else's, you know, 30-day or 75-day, whatever it may be, is cool. But like if you guys could do something that's niche for you, like you're gonna get forced to get out of your comfort zone, because after like 2 weeks you're gonna be like, man, like I can't post the same content, like now I want to experiment with this, I want to experiment with this, and you might find something you're like, I can enjoy doing this, I could do this more, you know? Yeah,
no, you're right. It's just it was like a mental block.
Yeah,
it's like, okay, you guys,
and then it's kind of like you don't want to just turn it on, like you're like, all right, we're happy. I'm like, I'm not fucking happy today.
Hey guys, so it's a great day.
Oh yeah, it's super hard. Like I've filmed day in the life before where like halfway through my day something has happened like just shitty. Like I had my car towed one of the times when I was doing it from my own apartment complex, and I was like, I don't want to fucking film anymore. I'm done. That's like what
you're
you
all
know,
filming the car beats.
Versus
there goes my car.
Her eyes are all red. Hey guys, that's the boss lady here.
Your mom too. Like you're gonna be she's waking me crying, like waking you up in the middle of the night. Like of course you're not gonna want to wake up and do content.
Yeah,
definitely.
But like you need to map out your content and know like this is what my goal is.
Yeah, I was like, I can't use the excuse I'm a mom anymore. Like I see so many moms that are fucking putting the content out there.
Like, bitch.
Kind of, right? I'm like, oh fuck.
Well, I mean, for me, it's like I had a discussion with the trainer, and they're like, oh, I want to post this. I'm like, yeah, you got to be consistent. I'm like, who am I? I haven't posted in fucking like a month. But I must say, and you know, I used to make fun of people like, hey, I'm gonna take a break from social media. They make a whole post about taking a break.
Yeah, the whole post of taking a break. I think
but
never understood that.
I've kind of taken a break. I mean, for me, in the sense where like I haven't posted, it feels amazing.
Yeah,
it really feels amazing not posting, but I know it's like it's something I signed up for, and I think it's because it was maybe content that I didn't want to shoot.
Yeah,
you know, and then now thinking like just speaking with you, I'm kind of like, you know, maybe it's some things that I just need to not worry about if it's done professionally, not worry about if it's like, you know, I'm saying the right stuff, just getting content out there. Because I think when my IG was like super popping, like I just didn't care.
Yeah,
I was on stories like, oh yeah, you know, this shit's going on, like hair's a mess, you know, but now it's like, okay, now when your platform gets bigger, you're always like, damn, I need to look a certain way. I mean, even you're like, shit, I need to get a haircut. I'm like, bro, you're good, you're dropping knowledge, you know. So I think getting out of that comfort zone is something I need to do. I'm still going to talk to you though. I know your book. I know your book. We all
need accountability.
I know your book, but come on.
He's booked till 2024, so we're gonna
2025. Come on, I got wedding for. I think that's one of the things.
All right, so we'll book you January 2024.
Yeah.
For like speaking to business owners, you know, even to people, whether it's like you're filming your own content too, like if you are dreading, whether it's like working with your videographer or filming your own content, and you are currently paying someone, like that should be a call for you to maybe switch things up.
Yeah, that's
saying
with me.
Like to all the videographers out there, I'm sorry if this affects your business, but like that's I think it need to be a wake up call for you. Like I need to restructure my business and step my game up, because like your clients, I do not want you to show up to a session and be like, fuck bro, like I'm not looking forward to filming content. Like if I have clients that, like I've had clients that show up to shoots like that because they have their own personal stuff going on, it is your job to switch the energy very quick.
Because they're the client at the end of the day. Like
exactly,
you need to make sure that
like, and you should not be showing up being like, oh, what do you want to shoot? Like it's very much going to be a distinguish of like, I'm an amateur and I'm a pro. Like if your personal trainer is very easy, like what if they show up and like, what do you want to hit today? No,
exactly.
Like what's your favorite movements? No, go home, go get a different trainer.
Yeah.
If you're showing up to a shoot and I'm like, what are you thinking today? So you're telling me you didn't put any thought into this before?
100%.
Like if you're gonna show up to a shoot and we still don't, I'm not gonna be like, hey Jason, this is what we're filming today. But if I show up, be like, hey bro, I had a couple ideas, like I want to fill these out and let's bounce some ideas real quick.
Love that.
You showed up with some type of thought, and I don't care. Like I'm driving. I don't care. Like I'm driving with my knees half the time. I have two phones. I'm guilty of it, but. Like I'll be sitting there sometimes, like I'm very busy. Sometimes I have to do that research on the way to a shoot, but I'm sitting there making notes,
but
making
it's crazy
sure.
how an hour like to a shoot, like if you're just thinking about that specific client, that whole hour is actually like an efficient hour for what you're about to do. And then you're in the right headspace right when you get there.
Exactly. And it's like people don't do their due diligence of research, like especially when there's someone that's worked with like previous people. Like you've done so much content before. If I show up to a shoot and I'm like, hey, I was thinking about doing some stuff on this topic, and you're like, oh, I filmed that a year ago. Now what am I gonna do? I'm just gonna sit here blank and be like, oh, now I'm back to the same question. Well, what do you want to shoot? If you have, like, I'm gonna go work with someone else at that point. Like there's someone that's gonna come with a master plan of like, hey Jason, this is kind of what I see your brand image, but like, what do you think? Where would you want to take your brand image? Does this really align with what you're looking at? No, that's okay. Okay, this is what your image is. Now let me, like I tell people I like to back work everything. So like if you tell me this is my image, I want to be IFBB Pro fitness, motivational fitness content. Now I'm going to backtrack what your image is, and I'm going to figure out what content aligns with that, whether it's the social media, format at the top of the line when it comes to like marketing or like back end work, like back work from it. If yours is like the motivational mom content, that's more speaking, whether it's like, there's all different types of it. It's like during pregnancy, postpartum, like this is your image. Now let's backtrack all the content that involves that. Like, don't just be like, oh, let's just, videographers have time. Like, let's just both of us throw shit at the wall and see what sticks.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty
the
easy.
15 minutes that they were available is gone now.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, like, I feel like I'm the easiest person to work with because, like, sometimes, hey, I didn't get my beard cut, and people are like, I don't want to film. I'm like, bro, let's just shoot it. The way I look is the way I look, or or hey, the fit's not on point. I don't care. Let's just shoot it. Yeah. It's just, I think where I got burned out was like I didn't want to think of ideas anymore. I think because I was thinking of ideas for all the gyms, for this, for that. It was like, bro, I just want to live my life and not have to, because my mind literally every day I would wake up and be like, okay, that's good content. What content is? Okay, what about this? But it would have been nice to have someone be like, hey, maybe we should do this. So I gotta
you're
read
the
about
content and social side of it, because like I'm 50%, to an extent of just like the content creation, 50% on the marketing side of it. I'm coming to you strictly with analytics at that point.
Yeah.
Like, hey, this is where things are at this week, this month, this is where the ads are at, this is where the social media accounts at. I'm not sitting and be like, hey, like let's go back and forth on ideas real quick for this business and this business and this business. Like, take your time during the consultation side of things, and that's gonna really, for if you guys aren't doing consultations as a videographer, like you're gonna be missing out on a lot, because you're gonna answer a lot of unanswered questions, and like you're gonna look like an amateur like 2 months down the road when you gotta text them and be like, hey, I was thinking about doing this, but we really never touched on this topic. Like, I want to make sure you're good with that. Like, figure all that out before you start working with them,
Right.
I feel like consultations, I think that's where people need to set their game up, because I mean, we do that in the fitness space, but I'm thinking about like the people we've worked with. Maybe have we ever had consultations?
I've had 2 consultations.
Yeah.
2
in the last 4 years.
In the last 4 years, two consultations with 2 people that are still killing it in the game right now. But I mean, again, it's changed so much. Before it was like we just need to get content out. We just need to get a picture of me getting out of the car, talking to people. Like, that was the content. So I don't fault them, but now I feel like social media is getting more complex in the sense where it's like no one cares about what you're really doing at the gym unless you have a following. No one cares about the day in the life of unless you have some type of following. No one cares about a lot of that stuff. It's more like what's trending, what can you get out, and then you find that niche, kind of like what you were saying, like kind of building it. But if you don't have anyone giving you direction and you have a bunch of stuff on your plate, then it becomes like something you don't want to do.
Yeah.
I think that's where we're at. But definitely a lot of gems dropped today. And a lot of different perspective for me to think of.
I know, we're like gonna be in our car like notes on
because I'm looking to I'm looking to hire a full-time videographer, personal and for a gym setting. So if you guys are out there, unless Riley takes it up.
I mean, Riley's too busy, so that's what happens.
I'll have him do my personal because he doesn't like gym shit anymore. So
I'm down with it. The fashion king.
And that's what I'm saying too. It's almost like, bro, like we used to go to Disneyland. I'm like, okay, let me get this fit because I need the content. Like, honestly, like you need the content. And people are always like, I can't wait to see what you. I'm like, okay, let me put this together. And my wife's like, bro, can we go on Dumbo? Like, I don't.
Felicia's like, okay, let's get these pictures out of the way.
So that's a heavy weight, huh? Yeah, having to be like fitted all the time. Because when you don't come fitted, you're like, man, I'm gonna be judged today. I
mean, I'm always fitted, to be honest with you. It's not really, but it's like
that weighs on you.
Yeah,
like, I gotta be fitted today.
Take one more picture of me holding this churro. My wife's like, okay, I'm trying to go on Dumbo. Like, so we get it. But it's funny though, because a lot of my pictures that are like, oh, people are, that's fire. Like, that's my wife. Crouched down in Disneyland, like,
we need that content. Felicia crouched down at Disneyland.
She's like, I should get paid to do this. I'm like, you do get paid.
You're like, we're at Disneyland right now, eating your churros.
But yeah, I mean, I think the big takeaway, you guys, is if you're listening to this, if you're looking for it from your content creator space, is to really step your game up in the business side of it, and this is coming from someone that hires a lot of content creators, right? Me as a consumer, it would be more comforting, and I would pay a little bit more if I knew someone had a plan set for me. The same way as if you're a trainer, your client comes in, very similar to what you said, is like, what do you want to work out today? No, that's what I paid you for. I got off of work, I worked 8 hours, I drove straight from work to here, sat in traffic, I know I got to go home to some kids. Like, this is my time where you just tell me what to do. So for like videographers, aspiring videographers, like really have something set up. If you don't, reach out to Riley, see if he has time to kind of sit. For the consumer side, I would say, again, look for someone that you actually feel comfortable with. because a lot of this time that you're shooting content, it's not a very comfortable situation unless you do it often. So find someone that's creative, find someone that has time, find someone that's of course affordable for you, but also someone that you feel can build and has a game plan for you. So I think you kind of covered all that. I'm excited because I know you're doing, and we haven't even talked about it, but I will have you back on. I know you're doing a lot of things in the real estate space. I know you're building your empire. I know you have your wedding year planning. So I know there's a lot of things going on for you that I'm excited to be a part of through the stories, the vacations and stuff. But you're my boy, so I know we'll be catching up a lot today. But thank you so much for making the drive out here. One of my favorites, Riley. Thank you so much.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you guys.
All right, guys. Until next time. Peace.